12 months ago, and it was just 4 ounces separating Steve Walker and Dave Pimlott at Hallcroft Fisheries in FishOMania IV. The superb trophy, and of course the cheque for £25,000, went to Dave Pimlott after a tense final weigh-in. This year we're at Hayfield Lakes near Doncaster, where more than 12,000 spectators join us on the bank for FishOMania IV. The draw's been made and the anglers will line up like this. The first 8 pegs take us right down to the far end of the island, and in peg 1 Steve Toone and in peg 2 Steve Clark have got a long cast to make to find the fish. Paul Horrobin in peg 3 and Kevin Dixon in peg 4 are on the favoured short cast pegs to the island, and Pete Bagshaw in peg 6 must fancy his chances, but Steve Ringer has got that brilliant peg on the end of the island. Everybody's got it down as favourite, and Steve Ringer's the bookies' favourite at 2-1. Steve Last in peg 9's been here before, FishOMania 1, he was the man. Pete Crane on peg 12, he's near the point, but Steve Cook on 13, well, he's in what I think's the pound seats. Down at the other end, Steve Lowther, everybody's saying 16's a good number. I don't know, it remains to be seen. The weather's absolutely fantastic, at least for watching fishing. What breeze there is blowing down the lake from the low numbers towards the high numbers. And these pegs here on the island, and on that point, I think that's where the fish will be congregating. Here's our Master of Ceremonies, Alan Hughes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to sunny Donny for this year's IDOS Interactive FishOMania IV. We have 16 of the top fishermen in the country competing for that £25,000 first prize. Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to go. We hope you are too. Let battle commence, gentlemen.
Five hours ahead then, it's all underway, and these fishermen will be anxious to get everything in good order now and get off to a good start. I mean, you'd think there'd be a few nerves, Keith, wouldn't you, at this stage, just to get it, before it gets underway.
They're going to be jangling. Somebody's going to throw in a ball of ground bait that's going to split in mid-air. Somebody's going to break their catapult. There's going to be fish showing on the surface, and they're going to wonder where to put their bait. The man who keeps his cool and just realises it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. The last 2 hours, when the sun starts to go down just a little bit, going to be the important time.
Key moments, these they'd just like to settle down, won't they? How important do you think it is that they don't panic in the early stages if it doesn't go right?
Well, they just mustn't. They're all very experienced anglers. Some of them have fished international level, so they're going to know. As I said, it's a 5-hour event. That 4:30 to 5, I think that's where the winner's going to be decided. I don't think anybody's going to get that clear a lead early, but the people that make the right decisions now are the people that are going to win.
What's going on here then, Keith?
Well, he's loading up a method feeder there. Now, this is quite an interesting tactic. Use very, very hard ground bait moulded round the feeder. There's a shock absorber built into the feeder, and he'll actually bury his hook bait into the ground bait. The fish hopefully come along, dig around at the ground bait, find the hook bait, swim off with it, it's game on.
Is that something you'd fancy doing today, using this particular tactic?
It's definitely a viable method here. And what he's doing, that's a spare rig made up. The original rig's already out in the water. If he reels a fish in, he nets the fish, unclips that rig, clips another rig on, and out again.
So that's Glyn Brown there, getting his bait out. We will, of course, bring you the very first fish that is landed here in the very hot conditions, and not much of a ripple on the water, is there, Keith?
The wind that we had earlier seems to have died, which could be a bit of a problem, but it could come again at any time. And it's going to be the far end of the lake. The high numbers are the ones that are likely to get the wind before anybody else does.
It's towards this end of the shot, the right-hand side of the frame.
That's it.
It's the high numbers. So Steve Last, he's on peg 9.
No stranger to FishOMania in the first match. In that match, he had an £11.15 carp, and I'm sure he'll be looking for 3 or 4 of those today.
Is this the first fish of the day coming out, Keith?
It certainly looks like it's a good fish too. Now, Kevin's on peg 4, which is the early part of the island, but it looks like that might be on the par. No, he's on the feeder. That's the method feeder. You can see right next to the hook. And that looks like a decent ghost carp.
You'll be happy with this, won't you? It's a nice way to start if this comes aboard.
Well, I reckon that's a kilo, that fish.
Right, well, that's an excellent start for Kevin Dix there, and he says that his favourite film stars are Del Boy and Keith Arthur.
Got a sense of humour then, hasn't he? It's a good lad, Kevin.
Well, he's got a starring role of his own if he lands this very first fish of the competition of FishOMania IV. There will be a lot of fish landed today, though. This is a very well-stocked lake indeed. Oh,
there's hordes of fish in here. Hordes of fish.
So Kevin Dix with the first one aboard. Well, the first man to get a fish on was Kevin Dix, who qualified from the New Junction Canal qualifying round. Also qualifying from that was Pete Bagshaw. He's on peg 6, and he's got some action there, Keith.
Yep, he's got a ghosty too, by the looks of it. They're both casting to the island with method feeders. And this is... Pete looks quite pleased with that one, doesn't he?
He does. He's not hanging around, is he?
No, he technically is probably the best angler in the field, and some of the others won't probably appreciate my saying that, but he fishes for Barnsley Blacks, and they're probably the best team in the country, and he's one of their stars. Very, very good angler.
Now, Kevin Dix on peg 4, he caught the first fish.
He's in again.
He's got something again, hasn't he?
Yeah. Keep the rod very low when you're playing these fish on the feeder, because you don't want them swimming into anybody else's peg. So you keep the rod low and keep constant pressure on them the whole time. And built into that feeder, there's an elastic shock absorber.
Well, there's another golden carp, it looks like.
That's another decent one, isn't
it?
When you get off to a good start like this, I mean, the money starts flashing through your eyes, through your mind. Or
you try not to think about it. You think that your peg is good, but oh, it's not that good. Someone's better, and you just keep yourself as calm as possible. And then in the last hour, you go whappy, and you really go for it.
Let's go to peg 15 now. This is down at the other end of the lake. Lee Monroe's getting busy down here.
Now, Lee qualified very early. He qualified in the first match. So he's had lots of time to practice. He's put in the hours here. And I actually saw him practicing, and he was fishing the pole then, catching lots and lots of small fish. But he was looking to feed the bigger fish for later on in the day. And it looks like he started the same today. That was a roach or maybe an ide. It gives you an idea how hot it is. Just absolutely soaked with sweat already.
Okay, well, let's see how they're going. In the early stages, the very first weigh-in of the grand final of FishOMania IV. This is where the nerves start to tingle, I suppose, when you first half hour's work. And the bag's being pulled in.
That's Kevin Dix's fish there. They're good quality fish. That's the size of fish you want to win this match. 30 or 40 of those at the end of the day, and the bank manager will be your best friend. They're ghost carp in the main, common ghosties.
Well, that second one, it was a terrific one,
yeah,
wasn't it?
That's getting on for 2 kilos, that fish, I would think. £4 in old money.
Look at that, there's another one going in there.
4.
He's had a terrific
He's got 5
start
fish,
down
that's
there.
a brilliant start. There's a golden north, the last fish that went in. Now that's 30 minutes into the match. And he's got, well, he's gone round the dial once. They're 5 kilo scales, I think.
That is a 5
So you're
kilo
looking at,
scale.
he's got over 11 pounds, getting on for 12 pound of fish there already.
What a great start that is. Did you go down and have a look, Bob, down there?
Yeah. This match really is going to be fished in 2 halves. There's going to be the island pegs and the ones in open water. Now, if the island fishes, and nobody can predict how it is going to fish.
This is Pete Bagshaw's from peg 6.
Yeah. Some more ghosties there.
And this is near the island, of course, as well, Bob.
Yeah. Well, you see, the island, the carp live there, but no one knows what this huge crowd we've got out here, how this is going to affect the fish. You know, fish can only go as far as the island there, so that may help them. Now, down the other end of the lake, they're more pole pegs normally, but with the crowd on the bank, it could push fish out of pole range, and that will be unfortunate for them. But the wind's going that way, so that's going to help them. It's going to balance the match. Yeah.
Just returning the fish there, putting them into a second net after the weigh-in, so they don't go out and spook the rest of the show.
Welcome back to FishOMania IV. Here's our first leaderboard, and Kevin Dix is off to an absolute flyer.
The carp that live by that island have decided it's dinner time, big style.
Yeah, Kevin here on peg 4, the undisputed leader at this very early stage. Kevin, you must be delighted with how things are going.
Yeah, it's going all right. I seem to be hitting the mark, getting a few bites, got a few carp out and one little golden orf. And things are going nice. Bit warm, but what a lovely day for it.
You've got plenty of family support here with you today as well, haven't you?
I got my wife with me, yeah, and I got my runner. He's having a look, see what's going on around. Just the wife, really.
Oh, I think we've got something else coming in here at the moment. Thanks very much, Kevin.
Another fish.
So there's another one coming in. This is the place to be, isn't it? Really? Well, last night they were talking about 8.
He's back in the bay. We have a look at the pegs here. Exactly? He's just back in the bay. Peg 6 is on the point, yeah, and peg 4's back in the bay.
Right. The problem with this peg 5,
he's lost that fish.
No one's gone away.
The problem with the 5-6 area is there's a hide on there that isn't normally there. There are some great hulking cameramen about a foot from where the fish are supposed to be.
So this is Kevin Dix, our early leader, Bristol man. He's been fishing for some 25 years. And he likes fish and chips. Well, there's a surprise for an angler. The early leader. He qualified from the New Junction Canal round. The first fish landed of the day was to him. It was a ghost carp. And he's carried on in good style since that very early start.
Thought that was a strange drink for a moment, cider and WD-40, but it was you, Ben40.
Now this is peg 9. This is Steve Last. Getting his first fish of the day, if this one comes in, and it has.
Very experienced angler, Steve. He's fishing the pole, not very deep either. You can see his float there, not far. Oh no, he's on a rod. He's fishing the rod down the side, I would think. Yeah. And we saw Steve throwing bait in along those reeds, and he's caught that down the side on those reeds. Now, if those fish get holed up there, he's got such a little distance to drag them in. He's only fishing off the end of his rod.
Now this is a fish on for Pete Bagshaw, who's in second after the first leaderboard. Keith, this looks to be another useful one for him.
Another decent fish, ghost carp. He's on a modified open end feeder. He's not actually fishing the method, he's fishing more of a conventional feeder. He's getting on for 2 kilo in that fish there, so that'll push him right up behind Kevin Dixon unless Kevin can catch another one.
This is Pete Bagshaw. He's on peg 6, Peter Crane. Now we're going to have to weigh in for the second weigh-in of the afternoon. How will the picture change? How will the leaderboard change? It has all been happening in the very start of it, and then it went quiet. There is the hooter, and that will start the signal for the weigh-in. Paul Horrobin, peg 3. Big lad from Wigan. And that's Pete Bagshaw from Chesterfield. Saw him landing that one there. Keith, you said it might go a little bit quiet the second half hour, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the next hour it's going to be nip and tuck, and then suddenly 3 hours to go, you're going to start seeing some anglers pull away from the rest, and you're going to start seeing more and more fish get caught. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
So this is peg 15. This is Lee Monroe, who was in third after the first weigh-in. He was a little bit down on the very early leaders.
He's still getting bites. There's still a few fish in there.
3/4 of a kilo he had on the first one.
Yeah, decent skimmer going in there. And he told Liz he's lost a big fish as well, so this he'll be quite happy putting fish in the net regularly.
There's a danger that they've not come to terms with the situation down there. They're feeling a bit down because they're not on the island.
Yeah.
But what they've got down there is an awful lot of fish up in the water, and that end is solid with roach.
Yeah.
How much do you reckon he had on there?
Pound 3/4 of a kilo there, I reckon.
This is how it looks on the leaderboard after 2 weigh-ins. Kevin Dix didn't add to that first round total there. He's in first though. Pete Bagshaw, he's moved up. Close on 4 kilos for him. Lee Monroe staying in third. Just over a kilo. Steve Lowther up from 5th to 4th. Steve Last, he's got on the leaderboard now with a catch. Then Paul Horrobin. And in 7th it is Peter Crane, and they are the only 7 to have landed any fish so far. No wonder he's got a little smile on his face. It's Kevin Dix out on peg 4. So he's got a couple in this half hour. The weigh-in hooter is gone, so this one won't count in this half hour. Oh, unless he gets it in very quickly, I suppose.
He did this at the end of the last half hour as well, didn't he? He got that bonus fish after everybody else has weighed. He's got another fish in his net and nobody knows how big it is. You couldn't work it better, could you?
So will he be able to get this one in time, or will they have whipped his...
Well, he probably wouldn't want to. He probably wouldn't want to. He'd like this one sort of in the bag, you know. A little bit of spare.
Keep it in hand. Now, how much will the other fellas along the bank know how well that Kevin is going so far?
They'll know. There's information goes along the bank in the Jungle Telegraph. Everybody will know.
Well, this is Lee Monroe out on peg 15. He was 3rd after the first couple.
This was another.
He's had another kilo there, I reckon.
Fish. He's still got fish going in the bag.
Probably won't improve on 3rd. But he's doing well. Out on peg 15. Oh, and there's this Kevin one that Kevin Dix is trying to pull in. Oh, and it's there.
What a cracking looking fish.
Absolutely brilliant for Kevin Dix.
Leaderboard 3, and Kevin Dix is cementing that lead, but Pete Bagshaw, casting to the point of the island, is catching up. But where are Steve Ringer's fish? Lee Monroe's on a roach strategy. It could pay off.
Now this is Steve Lowther. He's been after this fish for around about 4 minutes now. This is really proving very difficult as well. Oh, he's got it in there finally now, Steve Lauber.
Mirror carp. Yeah. And he's caught, that looks like on a surface rig. That looks like a floating controller type float, and he's fishing right on the surface with that, hoping to get fish that are actually picking bait off, right off the top.
Steve Lowther, he was in 5th before this weigh, and I think he was actually blank in the last half hour. Kevin Rolls has been catching plenty of smaller fish, but it's been doing him some good. He's still on the leaderboard, 4th place he is at the moment. Kevin Rolls. He's out there on peg 10, the man from Devizes in Wiltshire. 4 national team medals to his credit. And Keith, this tactic of his, I know we've mentioned it before, but he's going to stick to it.
He's caught another fish there instantly. You see, we've been on him less than a minute. Yep. We saw him put a fish in his net, now he's caught another fish. That's how quick he's catching. And if these average sort of 10 to the kilo, and he's catching a fish a minute, don't take you too long to see how quickly he can catch up the big weights.
You'll get more tired though.
You don't get tired.
No, not
at
when
the end of 5 hours you realise you're tired. When you're catching a fish every cast, you don't get tired.
No, you don't get tired.
Tired arms. Now, you've been surprised, Keith. I think some tactics that you might have employed that you haven't seen so far in action.
Yeah, in this kind of conditions, as Bob Roberts said earlier, you can get fish on the surface. And if I'd have been on one of those open pegs, I'd have set up a waggler to fish at quite long range loose feeding maggots as far as I could get. It's a lovely fish, it's sort of a good golden orph. But I'd have been loose feeding maggots all the time and just wait for the fish to come up and intercept them. We've seen the huge shoals of fish. If you excite them enough, they'll start feeding. You start catching on the top and everybody's playing catch up, then you're really just going for it.
Well, we've been fishing now for 2 hours. The fourth weigh-in hooter is just about to go. There it is. That's the hooter for the fourth weigh-in. Now, has anybody been able to make any ground on Kevin Dix and his total of close on 9 kilos? We'll find out shortly. Pete Bagshaw was in second after 3 weigh-ins, but the difference was a fair amount though. 2.5 kilos just about it was back there. Now what about this business of organising these weigh-ins then, Ken? Is that a bit of razzmatazz?
Oh yes, I mean we like to get the guys organised early on in the morning so they know exactly what they've got to do. We take the scales down, we've numbered even the scales up this time, so even the scales are matched up to the competitors. They know how to handle fish, these lads. I mean, this is what they've been doing for a long time.
This is Kevin Dix.
That's right. Now there's a nice fish going in. See how they're going in? That's a nice mirror.
He's our leader. Not his biggest contribution of the day, but
yeah, that's a nice fish.
They'll be getting on for a kilo there.
Yes.
So I can have another kilo just about to his tally. I would think that would probably keep him out in front.
Well, that takes him up over 20 pounds, and when we're talking in the old weights, that's a psychological barrier.
Yeah.
You get over 20 pounds and you know you're in for a good day. Welcome back to FishOMania IV at Hayfield Lakes, and leaderboard 4 shows no change at the top, but Kevin Roll's pole tactics have put him into 3rd place and he's catching well.
And what's happening out there?
Well, as he said, the fish might get bigger. We saw him get a really good golden orph just before the last weigh-in. This is another quality fish, and he's doing entirely his own thing.
I think they're just going up a little bit in size, these ones?
Definitely getting bigger.
Do you think that's because he's changing the tactic, or that they're just coming to...
He's just keeping the feed going in, and the bigger fish are starting to bully out the smaller ones. All he wants now is for the carp to come in, off he'll go, on will go a bigger rig, and out will come those big fish, just as quick as the smaller ones.
When do you think he might start thinking of doing that?
As soon as he hooks a big one, it rips him off. He'll hook one and it will disappear across the far side of the lake. That pole will go up in the air and out will come the animal gear.
Really, he'll wait that long. Steve Lowther on peg 16 from Workshop in Nottinghamshire. He qualified from the Middle Trent round for this final. He's in 5th place at the moment.
That fish will do him no harm at all, will it?
No harm at all. There's definitely a little bit of action out there, but it is still terribly still, isn't it, Keith?
It's just like a mirror. We can feel a little breeze up here in our elevated position, but the wind, what breeze there was, has just turned around completely the other way. So it just shows there's not really any set pattern to the weather. If we had a ripple on this lake, well, we'd have nowhere to go. The fish would just be everywhere.
Well, an Evertonian enjoys horse racing, Steve Smith-Eccles, one of our celebrities today. Perhaps we'll have a word with him afterwards. And of course some boxers that we've got down there as well, taking part in the competition. So be interested in how they're getting on, that's for sure.
I think all the fish are moving down towards pegs 13 to 16 because in the last few minutes Steve Cook has had a big catch. That was about 1.5 kilos. Elliot Payne has just caught an absolute whopper and we're waiting to see what that one's going to be, and it looks like he's got one. He's just about to net now. If you look down there, it's just about to net. Here it comes. It's a whop. It's another big one. The carp, they do seem to be moving down. That looks like a common carp to me. Is that right, Alec? Let's have a look. Is it a common one? Hey, things are certainly looking up for you, aren't they? You haven't had a smile on your face since we started, but it's starting to appear now.
I'm making my peg Stuart do a bit of work now. So
2.5 hours gone. Halfway through what is a marathon match. Now, what did you think about that Alec pulling one in there, Alan?
Well, I mean, if he's changed over to a waggler, obviously he must have been feeding that line all the time. I mean, if he's got 1 or 2 fish available now to catch, I mean, who knows, you know, he could come straight through the field.
Do you think we might see people starting to just alter their tactics a little bit at this stage?
I don't think so. Same as I said earlier, I don't think that in this situation you can change tactics. You've got to, if you've fed lines, you can use them lines that you've fed. It's difficult to start altering and trying to build it up again. You know, you've got to, it's a case of just keep plugging away at what they're doing, and hopefully the fish will switch on.
There's one thing they could do, you know, on that open water, we saw Alec catch on the waggler there. Alan mentioned floating baits earlier, and that's not a bad shout in these conditions. We've seen Steve Lowther probably fishing a floating rig. There's another waggler there. Now, if you can get out and get some fish feeding actually on the surface, floating dog biscuits or something, quality fish have those. Bits of luncheon meat going through the mincer there.
Now these are the fish heading for the weigh-in. This is Alec Payne's catch.
It was that quality fish we saw him catch. He's got 2 in there. Now if he's got 2 on the wagon mag in half an hour, he could well put some more in. There's 2 kilos odd there.
So that would have encouraged him greatly, won't it?
Definitely.
Once fish start feeding up shallow and you're feeding them all the time with maggots, you can get fish to go into like a feeding frenzy where they'll start, you know, taking baits freely. And once that happens, you know, it's very, very easy to put a weight in the net very quickly, isn't it, Keith?
Oh, very easy, yeah. So Kevin Rolls putting some small fish in. There's a nice ghosty.
I think this is Pete Bagshaw, your teammate, Alan.
Yeah,
going well. He's in second.
I mean, I've got sort of 2 favourites that's on the bank. One's Pete Bagshaw, was one of my team members. He fished for Barnsley Blacks, so obviously I'm rooting for Pete. But also Steve Toon is, you know, a great friend of mine, and I'm hoping that Steve would probably do well. But at the minute, he's struggling like.
He's having a tough time, isn't he? But Pete's been going well. Now this is the leader, Kevin Dix. He's been out in front all day. It's not going to add much to it all.
What could be bad news there is you wouldn't normally expect to get little fish where big fish are there feeding. So he's got 1 little tiny perch and he's hoping to catch carp.
It just registered.
Yeah, just about.
Now, Lee
4 ounces,
Monroe.
the difference between first and second last year. That was a 2-ounce fish. That's halfway between first and second there, you know.
At the halfway stage now, and leaderboard 5 confirms the top 3. But MPEG man Steve Lowther has made a significant jump onto the leaderboard. Kevin Rolls has closed the gap on the top 2, but no one's running away with it.
This is a shot of our leader, Kevin Dix. Working hard, concentrating hard. Let's have a look at his technique here, Keith.
Yeah, he's just putting some feed out, I think, by the island. He switched to fishing down the side, but he's keeping some feed going out towards the island. As Alan said, it's a sound tactic, trying to nick fish from somewhere else while you're still keeping your original swim established. That looked like some loose feed, so he may be thinking about a third method and actually going out into the open water in front of him.
When he's out there, he'll be thinking all the time, won't he? Will he be looking around to see what the others are doing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
You're aware of everything. Competition just heightens your senses and you're concentrating on everything that's going around you. And it's amazing what you can see in just a fraction of a second. You can see someone, you might notice they're putting 2 maggots on instead of 1, or they're just chopping some worms, or they're doing something, you just notice it, and that logs in the computer that's your brain, and it just gets you working.
Alan, when you're out there, do you have a look around, see what the others are up
to? Sometimes, yeah. It depends what the circumstances are. If you're catching a lot of fish, you can just get your head down and get stuck into what you're doing. Now, if things aren't quite going right, it's nice just to have a keep your eye on what other people are doing, and also how the fish are reacting. You know, sometimes you can pick something up that might just let you know, what to do next.
There's a bit of action here.
Another waggler there.
Yeah, another fish on the waggler.
We'll see who it is in a minute, I'm sure.
And it's got, this one's going to get into the 6th weigh-in, where the competition is intense. The winner will pick up £25,000. Second place gets nothing, apart from a few tails to add to the collection of his day at FishOMania, and where it might have gone wrong and where it didn't quite go right. And there is the hooter. That's the hooter going out. The 6th weigh-in will be underway very shortly indeed. Just a little sign of a ripple there.
That's what they're hoping for. That wants to get bigger and just dull the surface of the water. It will make all the difference in the world.
Now this is a big haul. We think out on peg 13.
This is Steve
Cook.
He's gone on that waggler and he's caught those fish up in the water.
Steve Cook, 7th place. Got close on a kilo in the previous half hour.
I was a bit worried this morning because Liz Hobbs, who's covering those scales, had written at the top of her notes, Keith Arthur fancies him. Well, I don't really fancy him in any other way than to win the match. I think he's a very good angler on a very good peg.
So it was close on 3 kilos, I think, there,
yeah.
Isn't it? Yep.
But he's absolutely safe. You can tell his wife I really don't fancy him. I just think he's got an outstanding chance of winning.
That's going to bring him up the leaderboard, I think.
Oh, yes.
So he might be fancying that he's got a little thing going now.
He's
Get on a roll.
On the waggler.
Tense moments for the competitors and their supporters in a very healthy crowd.
We could see some changes at the top of the leaderboard. Not maybe the very top, but those top 5 places, there's going to be some changes this round, I'm absolutely convinced.
But if they close up with, say, well, it's 2 hours to go now, anything could happen, couldn't it?
It's all tightening up. All tightening up. We thought at the start there might be a runaway winner. We were hoping there wasn't, and there isn't going to be.
No, there isn't going to be. There isn't going to be, I say this, I'm sticking my neck out, but it'll all change. There isn't going to be the huge weight call.
No, you're right. You're right. It's getting less and less likely. And really, it's the weather has caused that more than anything else.
Kevin Rolls, this is. Very consistent he's been.
Another getting on for 2 kilos.
Not far off there, but over 2.5 last time out.
Going back to Steve Cook. Steve Cook's one of these anglers that's been fishing these carp type lakes for a long time now. He's put a lot of effort into getting these carp sorted out, how to catch them. And his probably his experience is showing through now.
That's been some joy for Steve Clark on peg 2. He will get on the leaderboard now. He's caught his first, I think he's got a couple of small ones, taking him close on 3 hours. 2 hours to go. Kevin Dix goes to 10 kilos 10, and it's Kevin Rolls who goes up into 2nd place, up from 3rd. He's jumped over Pete Bagshaw, and the gap now is down to, well, 1.5 kilos, isn't it? A little bit more than that.
Just over 3 pounds.
Interesting. That's the closest it's been. Closest it's been since, I think, the second half hour of the day, when Pete Bagshaw had a good second half hour and Kevin had a bad one. But they're closing up, aren't they? Those top 3 and 4. Lee Monroe's not out of it yet, is he? Or Steve Cook, or Steve Lowther, but they've got to get going now. They've really got to start pulling them in.
That looks like Cookie again, I think. Oh, peg 14. Someone else switched to the waggler.
Oh, this is
Alec catching on the wag.
This is Alec. He was on the waggler a little while ago, wasn't he?
I think Steve Cook's probably the danger man actually now at this period. I mean, he's had close to 3 kilo or over 3 kilo in the last session, and if he's got them fish feeding on that waggler, I think he's sort of the danger man we want to be looking at, I think.
Kevin Dix is still our leader with over 10 kilos, but Kevin Rolls has been charging. It's little and often, And my goodness, is it often. He's pulling them out of the water virtually 1 a minute.
Remember Bob Roberts told us about this when he came up the first part. He said Kevin Rolls has been practising catching these fish on the surface. 40 pounds of roach he caught, which is 18 kilos, in practice the other day. Now, if he gets 18 kilos today, I wouldn't mind being his financial advisor.
No, well he's 1.5 kilos behind Kevin Dix at the moment.
He's gradually working his way down his disgorger as well. I'm sure he'll swallow it before long. A lot of anglers are now starting keeping the disgorgers in their mouth, the unhooking device in their mouth, so they know exactly where it is. I prefer to stick mine behind my ear, but I think they chew it as a comforter.
I think it depends on what type of ears you've got. If you've got,
there's just enough room behind mine.
Yeah, if you've got joiner's ears, you're all right. Like the joiners always keep the pencil behind the ear.
Well, Kevin Dix, who is the leader, he's got over 10 kilos, but he got over 5 kilos in that first half hour. So over half his haul came in that first half hour. And it was an absolutely blistering start. But it's been more difficult since then. And the gap has closed.
Now it looks like he's taking, he's getting another bit of tackle out. He's having a bit of a real tactical change now. You'd have thought with the time available you'd have every possible thing made up ready for you. But unless he's dropped a section in or something, you can't really tell what he's done there.
Yeah, we're going to rethink. The breeze is getting stronger. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Certainly very welcome up here.
Welcome up here. Welcome down on the bank as well, I'm sure. They're working so hard now. They really are giving it everything. They chase £25,000.
We saw Kevin Rolls net the fish just now, and here he's netting another one.
That's how quick it is.
And they're good average size fish are these.
There it is, another one goes in.
You see, this venue's not used to the amount of people that's down on the bank now. And you know, no one knows. It doesn't matter how much practice you put in before the competition. Nobody knows how it's going to react, the venue, to the amount of people on the bank. And I think, you know, Kevin's method of just catching the little fish and let everybody else concentrate on the carp, you know, it could be coming good.
His ambition to win FishOMania. Is he getting a little bit closer? We've got our next weigh-in, the 7th weigh-in of the competition coming up very shortly indeed. And we'll get the latest update on how the picture sounds. The hooter will go any second now. That's for the 7th weigh-in. We've got an hour and a half to go when we're expecting a lot to happen. And a lot of movement on that leaderboard. This is our leader. Had that absolutely staggering start. And then we thought he might just be having a little bit of a rethink.
He's certainly re-rigging something there. Looks like he's making up a new pole rig. Something's happened. He's either lost a rig or he's lost a fish, and that's prompted him to change. But he's definitely had a major tactical change just then.
He's got a little bit fed up. The big numbers haven't been coming for him just lately.
He's not got fed up. He's probably got worried, and he's seen those people catching the smaller fish. And it's not that everybody that's catching up's catching smaller fish, because Steve Cook's catching quality fish. Kevin Rolls is catching smaller fish. He's now in that cleft stick. I'm in front. What do I do to keep in front?
Yes. And of course Steve Cook's out in the far reaches, the high number pegs. He's out on 13, Kevin Dix is on 4. So he's weighing things up in his mind.
He's probably thinking that if he rests his outside line, his feeder line, that, you know, if he starts to get in, if he can keep in front on the small fish, then if he gets behind, he can still go back onto that long line. Now, if he caught very well at the start, you may be hoping that he might have a quick start again by resting the peg if some fish gather to where he's been casted.
Right.
Oh, well, it's 2 roach and 2 perch.
Now this is
That's his fish, I
this
think.
is Wayne Hayward, is it? Yes, Wayne. This is Wayne Hayward.
Have you got them?
Been struggling all day. He's second from bottom, but this is, I think, this is his best half hour. So things are picking up there. And this is the latest situation. Kevin Dix is still out in front. It's half a kilo, though that is all between him and Kevin Rolls. Lee Monroe is in 3rd place, up from 4th. Peter Bagshaw drops back again, and for the second half hour in succession, didn't land anything. Now, neither did Steve Cook in that last half hour either, so that's interesting as well. But he was landing the bigger ones just a short while ago, and still waiting to get off the mark is poor old Glenn Brown on peg 11. Well, he's got 1 hour and 25 minutes, Glenn, to get on the board here. He'll be desperate to do that. It would be a great shame if he went home without troubling the scorers. Kevin Rolls has continued his good form. He's been pulling them out at a regular rate, and that hasn't stopped. He'll wait for us for a few moments, and Kevin is keeping them coming. And now in this time, I think that's the 3rd or 4th fish he's caught in this section, and Kevin Dix, the leader, has yet to register one. So perhaps we're looking at our new leader now.
Yes, the man who's playing catch-up and doing it very successfully so far, Kevin Rolls. Kevin, it's a bit of a late run. Is this what you planned all along?
Nope.
What was the plan?
Well, the plan was to fish the paste, really, but that didn't work. And they haven't come up on the top of the fish, so I've got to fish down the side.
So you're making the best of a hot day. You've had plenty of coaching as well, haven't you, from John Howard, who's a local. He knows this water. What did he say to you when you started catching these little fish? Can we see you, Kevin?
He asked me if I was happy still doing it.
Well done so far. You're in 2nd place at the moment. We'll try not to put any more pressure on, so I'll duck out until a little bit later. Keep plucking away. And Liz Hobbs is now down on peg 15 with Mr. Monroe, I believe.
We certainly are, Jackie, and the weights are still coming in. They're coming in thick and fast, and there's a lot of small fish being caught here, mainly roachly.
Yeah, at the moment they...
We've got one on, we've got one on.
They're actually coming all right there. Just not enough of them at the moment.
And there's a lot about this size. Well done.
Yeah.
They're all about this size, aren't they, Lee?
Yeah, I've had a couple bigger, but like, mainly that's what they are.
That has been the way that you've stuck with it most of the afternoon. Everybody else has been changing to wagglers, and they've been changing their bait around. And something Keith said earlier that you happened to hear about wagglers and worms.
It doesn't work on it, it's no good. You got to stick to worms.
Sorry, Keith, you're wrong. Wagglers and worms are not working, but they're certainly working. And you've also stopped fishing directly off your peg. You're now coming inshore as well. Why?
Yeah, there just seems to be more fish on the inside near the reeds at the moment. Out there, they're just messing about with it all the time, and you just can't hit them. Come here, come up bottom, and started hitting them more now. It started boosting my weight. But I still need carp, a lot of carp. Nice big one.
Well, do you think you can catch up? Because you've got a fair way to go yet.
Well, we'll see. There's an hour left, isn't there? So, we'll see. I don't know.
I know, and the man to catch at the moment happens to be Kevin Dix. He's on peg 4, and at the moment he's talking to Gabby Yorath.
Thanks very much, Liz. Yeah, Kevin's just bagged a small one there. Kevin, things haven't been going as well in the last half hour, have they?
Well, I'm fishing for small fish now. It's got very, very quiet. I'm just catching. I just caught a tench there, and I'm catching the odd roach.
Are you going to stay with this method of fishing in for the rest of the day?
If I continue to get bites, I will. Yeah, because I'm still in front. I gather. Just stick with it, see what happens.
Thanks very much, Kevin. We wish you well.
So, those are the thoughts of the main contenders. Keith, what did you make of that?
Well, Kevin Rolls, we saw Kevin Rolls catch 2 fish there in less than a minute and a half while Jackie was trying to talk to him. Very difficult for Jackie because Kevin's facing the wrong way and she couldn't really get the microphone to him. And Kevin's fishing for 25 grand. You can't expect him to put his pole down and stop and have a chat. You know?
I think it's fair enough.
Let's be fair. Yeah. Kevin Dix is happy with what he's doing, but you can see he's lost that air of confidence, hasn't he? He's just not quite so sure as he was. I understand I'm still in the lead. That's instead of, well, I'm 3 kilos in front, which he didn't say, but he must have felt.
So there we are, 1 hour to go. Kevin Rolls is out in front, 12.81 kilos. Kevin Dix is in second place, 12.11. He has been out in front all day, but now he's in second. But Lee Monroe is now in third with over 9 kilos. But this is Kevin Dix on 4. He's not out of it yet, that's for sure. He's about 3/4 of a kilo down at the last weigh-in, but he hasn't given up yet. But it's not a big one though, is it? It's another small one going in there, and he needs to get big ones because Kevin Rolls is continuing to pull them in.
Another big carrot, big gold north, that is.
We'll pound them, they're good fish then.
So it's still going on then. The competition very intense. Up to 4 men still involved, but definitely it's the 2 Kevins out in front. Kevin Rolls and Kevin Dix are battling it out for supremacy, and the prize £25,000 to be the champion here at FishOMania IV. The excitement very, very great indeed as we go into the closing stages. Coming up to the penultimate weigh-in of FishOMania IV, Kevin Rolls has just been landing so many, pulling the fish in such great numbers. And look at that, there's another one. It's amazing, quite amazing. And Kevin Dix isn't pulling them in at that rate at all. He's going to start needing the big fish very shortly because Kevin Rolls' tactics have proved to be spot on so far.
Kevin Dix with a fish as well there, just in time for the weigh-in.
And that is the hooter for the penultimate weigh-in, which means that we are into the final half hour of FishOMania. And the tension will surely be getting to these guys now, Pete.
It's just real twitch time now, isn't it? They're going to know now their fate, aren't they? Those that aren't going to win know they aren't going to win, but there's 2 or 3 that know they might.
And Kevin Rolls, he'll just be praying that Kevin Dix doesn't land a big one and throw all his hard work onto
another
the
fish
heap.
for Kevin. Now, while we've been watching, Kevin Dix has had 1 fish, Kevin Rolls has had 2, and we've been on them less than a minute.
Yeah.
So that's how quickly they're catching fish.
Kevin Rolls will just be hoping Kevin Dix stops up pole.
Yeah.
Simple as that, really. If he stops up pole, he can't really beat him.
No.
Unless he gets a carp, obviously, but I don't think he'll look a carp at this time.
And if he does, it's got to be 4 kilos.
Yeah, it's got to be a big fish, yeah.
Because Rolls is going to be running away from him.
That's right, yeah.
Now, this is
the catch for our leader coming out. Kevin Rolls. Let's see how many he's got in there. I mean, we were just staying on him in a minute. We saw a couple go in.
Glad he hasn't got Barry Hearn's keep net with the hole in.
Yes.
The police.
This could be so important. So important. This could be.
Lovely looking fish in there. That gold north. That's a super fish.
They're beautiful. You don't see a net full of them, Keith.
Yeah.
In winter when we have to catch them on bottom. They look beautiful.
Bag of carrots.
28 out.
There we go. Moment of truth then.
Oh.
Nearly 3 kilo. 2.5 kilo.
Nearly 2.5, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's got to extend his lead, doesn't it?
Yeah.
2.4.
2.4. So Kevin Rolls. He's been so consistent. So consistent. It went up by 2 last time. Close on 2.
And he's not catching. Yes, and he's not resting on his laurels. There's another good fish coming in right now.
2 the time before that, 2 the time before that, 3 before that. He's basically putting on 2 kilos each time.
And this is possibly in the net now the biggest fish he's caught so far.
Let's check on the leaderboard then. This is the penultimate leaderboard. Kevin Rolls, 15 kilos and 23. Look at that, almost 3 kilos ahead of Kevin Dix. Mr. Consistency, Kevin Rolls, just pulling them out of the water, racing to this FishOMania title. So it started off with 2,500 anglers chasing this prize, and it's down to these two guys. Realistically, these are the two that it's between, and Kevin Rolls has got that lead there over Kevin Dixon. There is only 15 minutes to go. It's a lead, it's not far short of 3 kilos, is it? And Kevin Rolls, every time we look at him, he pulls out another fish. So, very, very tense moments. I wonder if he's managing to keep a steady hand.
Nearly a smile there, I think.
Nearly, yeah.
Do you think he thinks he's got it in the bag? Yeah. Yeah?
I think he knows now. I don't think anybody can beat him now. Isn't he too big and something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Running out of time to pull in 2 fish for the size.
Yeah. I think Pete Bagshaw's been on it long enough to have got 1 or 2 carp now, and it's just not happening out there. But he's done the right choice. He had to do it, and he's made a gamble. He's gone for it.
He's attacked.
He's attacked, which you had to do.
Now, what about our long-time leader, Kevin Dix? Is it all over for him? He started off absolutely brilliantly. I mean, nobody else has matched that half hour that he had, where the very first half hour of the match, way back, just after midday, wasn't it, when he got over 5 kilos, did Kevin Dix, the leader. It was a long time ago.
That's not sweat coming off his head, by the way, just dipped in the water, yeah. I know it's
steam
hot,
coming out of his ears shortly, though. Yeah. How do you think he'll look back on his day? I mean, he'll obviously be delighted with the way it started, but when it slips away like this, it must be so frustrating.
I think his only regret is there's probably that pick feeder or up and had a chance at it a bit earlier, to be honest with you. I mean, he's doing it now, and perhaps he should have done it a bit earlier. And I think, you know, for a long time he'll winning it, he'll be pleased about that. And I just think he'll think he should have done that earlier, especially if he gets one now, he'll be gutted.
Oh. We're just talking about size of the margin here now. 45 seconds to go. And you're looking at the man who will be crowned champion of FishOMania IV. Kevin Rolls, 31 years old, from Devizes in Wiltshire. He's got a couple of children, Aaron age 7, Jamie age 3.5. He's fulfilling an ambition to win FishOMania after 20 years of fishing. FishOMania, of course, only been going this time the 4th year. But this to add to his list of achievements of John Smith's individual champion of 92, P&O 5th individual in 92, national team medals with Avon Bait.
He's a top angler.
Oh, he's a good lad.
And there he is. That is the final hooter.
He knows.
And Kevin Rolls is the champion of FishOMania IV. After an afternoon of relentless pressure, of pulling out roach after roach after roach, he just found them in that little patch by the reeds. And you're looking at a man who has just won £25,000. This is the final result then. This is the official final result. 17.5 kilos. Kevin Rolls. Well, he strolled it in the end, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Absolutely strolled it from Kevin Dix. A relentless amount of pressure he put on. Nearly 5 kilograms behind.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to our champion this year and a cheque for £25,000, the trophy and the title of the 1997 IDOS Interactive FishOMania IV champion goes to the brilliant Kevin Rolls.
So, Kevin Rolls is confirmed as FishOMania IV champion, collecting his cheque for £25,000 and getting his hands on that famous FishOMania trophy from Barry Hearn. So it's goodbye from me, Keith Arthur. That's FishOMania for another year.